The epoxy is set on the scales, and what I've done, I've just drilled back through the holes through the scales. We already know everything lines up, so yeah, just a matter of drilling through. I've only drilled halfway through that one, but it's just a matter now of putting the knife together and running it around the sander. There's the first one. So I've just done that with that one. Haven't put the stop pin in yet. I'll have to do that because the stop pin will set to a degree the spring, so when the blade will be out a little bit from there and it will just be pushing up on the spring slightly. But I've just cleaned that up on the grinder, just took everything back flush. The little washers just moved in there, so it's not quite closed up properly. Yeah, clean the sides down basically. Everything's looking pretty good. Only slight problem, well, it's not a problem, it's just a fitting problem. This spring is probably half a hair higher there than when the knife is closed. It's just like something and nothing really. But I'm just going to do a little fit, and that will be on the top there. I'll just sand, I'll literally do it with some wet and dry paper. I'll sand that flat there so that when the knife comes up, the spring just drops down a little bit, and it'll then match in both positions. I'll get this one cleaned up now. So I've cleaned these off now on the grinder. Everything is sitting nice and flush with everything else. So one of these, neither of these have got the stop pin on, so they're not just set up right just yet. You can see the spring's a bit low in both positions there. When the stop pin goes in, the spring will be flush. I want to put some shape into these, so I cannot assemble yet, unfortunately, because I've got to do some grinding on here to just make the sides, put a bit of shape in the sides, and so obviously when I get these on the grinder and shape the sides, it's just going to completely fill the inside with dust and metal grit and everything else and bits of brass, so it would just be impossible to clean out. So I've got to try and do this now while the knives are in sort of this condition or this state. Then when I've got this body shaped roughly to shape, I can then put the pins in, pin everything, pin all the pins over including them. Then I can just do a final clean up without doing too much sanding and creating too much dust and everything. What I can always do is I can run a piece of tape on there later on just to try and keep the dust out of it when I'm doing a bit of hand finishing. But I've still got to etch the blades yet on these. So the blades still just need cleaning up now. They would need the spines just cleaning out. There's a little bit of work there to do as well on that joint. And when I've got these handles shaped, I will then finish the blades off completely, finish the etching, everything. Not quite there yet, but getting there. And I've double-sided taped these sort of scales together, put them on the grinder. All I really did was I scribed a line down each side, as you can see there, and then and a line on the side which was kind of around there like that, equidistant from each edge, probably a third of the way from each side. Then I just simply ground that on the corners, then I just sort of rounded it over. So we've got a nice profile on these now. I'm going to have to finish hand sanding them because there's a little bit of a step there. Obviously the grinder wants to grind the wood more than the brass, so I'm just going to have to sort of hand finish them, and I'll come back when I've done that. Okay, that's kind of where I'm up to now off the last video I did, which was probably about a week ago. But I know I've possibly since the last video I've now etched the blades, and I've shaped these and contoured these handles, and I've done probably a couple of cleanups on the spring, the refitting, just checking absolutely everything, and finally I'm good to go. So I'm about to pin these pins over here. What I do is I sort of contour file the pin so that it's on the same contour and plane as the handle there. Then I tap it flush with the surface, each one. Then I will contour file this side so it's on the same contour as the handle, but leaving about 2mm sticking out on this side so that I can push the pin back through. So there's about 1mm each side, which I will then pin over. I'm just working on that one at the moment, so that's all I do. You see, that's where I kind of want those pins like that. Same on each side. I'll just do that with the rest of them now and we'll get them pinned over. Okay, here we go. Pin at the ready and time to get pinning. What I kind of do is mushroom one side out first. I don't know if you can see that. And tap it home and turn it over so that I can push down on the bolster whilst I pin this side over and lock it up. You can see I've still got movement. That is because on these knives that phosphor bronze bushing is acting as the spacer. So it's perfectly spacing the distance between these scales inside. So the ends of the phosphor bronze bush are behind these liners, preventing the knife being squashed as I pin these pins over. If you don't use this method, what you can do is put a feeler gauge under one side of the knife and then pin your pin in. And when you've got it pinned and locked, you can take the feeler gauge out, check the tension and just adjust it by tapping until you just get it how you want it. So I'm going to carry on pinning this now, then I'll start on these. So basically the pin's mushroomed and it's now locked the blade in place. So what I'll do now is file, it's a bit high on this side, so I'll file that down now till there's about 0.5mm left on each side. Then I'll give it a final peening and then I will file it flat. Sorry guys, the camera wasn't on then, I don't think. If it was on, then this clip will not exist, but basically I've just domed that pin in. I'll do the same. I'll just go over it again on this pin here, just in case I didn't get that clip. So all I'm going to do again is go all the way around the outside of the pin, like so, pushing the sides over to mushroom it, keep alternating sides. I did say on the last clip, or perhaps I didn't, that you've got to be really careful when you do these end ones, because as you mushroom the pin over, then you've got a dome. As you hit the center of the dome, you then start expanding the pin, and you only want to expand it so far. If you go too much, what you're very likely to do is just crack the wood out here. As the brass expands, it'll want to crack these scales, so just be very careful. What I do is I keep pinning, and I keep trying to push the pin, and as soon as the pin stops moving, then I know the pin's pinned. It will expand into this wood and grip it, so just go careful. So I go on each side. I know some people like a kind of little raised pin, but personally I prefer the pins flush. So you can see that that pin is now being pushed in. So I'll tap it back a little bit so it's back there, and now I'll pin this side. Again, you've got to be careful of this, that you don't crack out the back. Because if you do, at this stage, I'm afraid you're stripping all these scales off again, which is a horrendous thought. Anyway, I'll carry on with this, guys. Just in front of me here, it's a bit awkward doing it for the camera. So all pins pinned, or all pins pinned. I just got to file these down now, flush with the surface, or as near to as I can get. It's kind of easier to file the pins to your scales than it is to sand them, because your sandpaper will want to go remove the softer material around the pin rather than the pin. So if you get them down with the file, you can just clean them up with paper. That's what we want to do. Just file it till the pin disappears. Just like so, and that can be sanded now. We can have a good old sanding session now. And I'll bring you back when I'm oiling the handles. As you can see, these are two feather pattern folders. Forged this steel out a couple of weeks ago. But guys, here we are. The eagle has landed and the fat lady has sung. All done bar some more just very gentle cleaning of the brass, sharpening the blade and applying some more coats of oil to the handle. That'll take place over the next couple of days. Spine wants cleaning up because there's gun oil on that, but it will come out a beautiful sort of matte finish, satiny black colour, and wipe the gun stock oil off. I'm very pleased with how they've come out. Very pleased. I love the pattern. Love that Damascus. It is beautiful. Love the contouring on the handles. The shape. They work beautifully. Nice. Really nice action. Nice tension on the spring. Who needs a half stop? Who needs a 3/4 stop? This one's the same. This is the London Plain. That one is the Spalted Beech, which is beautiful cross grain cut breech. Same with this one. 7/8 stop on it. It's still a little bit tight, that I'm just going to adjust it a little bit. But yeah, both come out really nice, really nice. Nicely centered, both knives in the scales or in the frame. Very pleased with them indeed. These will probably be the last two slip joints I make now. I did promise that someone would make them one probably more than a year ago. That will be the last slip joint I ever make, I think. They're just so tedious and time consuming. There's no real money in these for what I'm charging anyway. So yeah, moving on to different things. Well, that's it for slip joints. Now I did say to somebody on the comments on the last video that I would show you how to solder brass bolsters with soft solder. Guys, I'll just do a separate video for that because this video is probably going to take up too much time anyway. So I'll just do a very short video. That'll be the next video. I'll get it up a day after this one, whenever this one goes out. Well, it'll be now, won't it? So tomorrow you'll see a video on soft soldering, just a quick video. Well, the next video up, guys, is the end of Damascus making. And I've already got rid of the anvil, and you'll get a full explanation as to why in the video probably out in the end of this week. But for now, that is it. So stay lucky. Please like, thumbs up, thumbs down, comment if you wish, and thank you very much to my patrons. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.